Over to you, Derek.
Hello and welcome to the Lost Launches of Lockdown. This is an event in association with Waterford City and Council Arts Office, and it's being presented to you by the Wax Lemon Literary Magazine. And that would be myself, Derek Flynn, and my co-founder and co-editor, Joanne.
There.
We have a bunch of fine poets for you for over the next hour or so who have published books during the lockdown, the past year and a half, and who missed out on the launch night. So we thought we'd bring them together here to tell us a little bit about their books and maybe to read a little bit as well. So first, I'm just going to tell you a quick little bit about the Wax Lemon. So the Wax Lemon, this is our first issue. It was published last winter. This is our winter issue, and it's a Waterford-based literary journal, and it contains poetry, short stories, flash fiction, photography, and art from people from Waterford, from around Ireland, and from abroad. And our first issue, we're very happy to say, sold out in the book centre in Waterford, and it's gone into its second printing now, and there are copies available in Waterford or on their website. So if anyone's interested in picking up a copy, that's where you can get them. And all of our poets this evening also have their books on sale, and they'll let you know where you can buy copies of their books from. So I think we can get straight into things, and we're going to talk to our first guest, who is Ben Quinlan, and Ben is launching his new collection of poetry, which is called Significant Nothing. Hello, Ben.
Hello, Derek. Thanks for having everyone here today in cyberspace here where we now primarily exist. Yes, this is my new poetry, or even debut poetry collection called Significant Nothing, available on Amazon to buy on ebook or paperback for whatever tickles your fancy. I kind of compiled a bunch of poems that I've had just as baggage, I suppose, around with me since 2013 up until like last 2 weeks ago. So a lot of the poems are kind of like taken out of their like temporal context for me, and I kind of feel estranged to a lot of them. So I kind of figure that they don't even belong to me anymore. So I'm just putting them into this book to send them out, like the way what happens. Yeah, I think it's in Ardkeen when they send out Spock's body out the airlock into space. That's like this book. It's like whoosh, it's gone now. So once I
like that very literary analogy there, Ben. Well done. Well, anyone that can bring like Star Trek Ardkeen into the conversation is good by me.
I don't know.
Tell me quickly, so, is there a theme running through them then? Because you say you picked them out over, did you put them together as a themed piece, or just?
No, it's like there's actually no theme, even though I've noticed themes probably crop up for me automatically that I wouldn't have like set out to do, but I suppose there's something working through me, and it kind of encapsulates in this title of Significant Nothing. It's like, to me, this is significant, but to most, it's a nothing. But there's sometimes a poem, you could read it when you're 14, and it doesn't mean anything to you. But when you pick that back up when you're 24, it can level you. So meaning, it's such a strange beast. I think Rudyard Kipling's If was something that my mother would have printed off on the kitchen wall. I would have just thought that's absolutely naff. But only a few months ago, I heard it being read on audiobook, and I ended up sitting down on the stairs to cry. It took the legs out from underneath me. So this Significant Nothing could, to some person, like, the poems don't belong to me anymore, but you might be where I was at when I was 16, or you might be where I was at when last week. So just depending on where you're at, you could pick it up and be like, whoa, this is the vibe that I'm in at the moment. So it's just a bunch of images that I'm going to now use my bodily apparatus to communicate to you through language. So I think
that's a lovely way of summing it all up. And would you have a piece there that you would like to share with us?
Yeah, I'm going to read you this little piece. It's 4 pages, and it's called Soham, which in Sanskrit means I am that. And I wrote this when I was doing a dance performance with Jess Rowell, who some of you probably know. She's a dance artist. And I was doing spoken words in her movement, which was. And so Soham means I am that. And that's in the Sanskrit scriptures of Hinduism, the Upanishads, the Bhagavad Gita. And it resonates with me where God says to Moses at one point, he goes, I am that I am. I am that. I am what I shall be. And it's kind of like this kind of struggle with trying to figure out, a human is trying to figure out what it is. And it's like, we actually don't have any other point of reference about what we are, except for to each other and our own history. And anyway, with that, I'll stop talking around it and actually say it. Soham. Talk, speak, voice, curse. I am that. Eyes, light, sharp breath. Up straight from a dream into a chosen transformative death, into consciousness, repetition, repetition. I am that. Eyes of vision, penetrates the previous unknowable dark. Nothing new to know. I am. Knowing is remembering. Recollective course correcting trajectory. Flicking through the sacred psyche's emergency directories, thinking thoughts that can't possibly belong to me. I am that. I am that I. Repetition, repetition. Speak, voice, curse, choke, bite, tongue, eyes, roll. I am that. Chosen, transformative, repetition, repetition. I am. Eyes shut light to hold in sight. Don't need to see the cycle repeat, the repeat of me, of my I am. We've been there before. Here before, been that before, and we must be prepared to visit there again and again. There is no place that you can hide in from the single simple fact abiding. Bring attention to our point of origin. Our throne is there. The childhood home is there, but child we are no longer. Let in what makes us stronger. What lends us strength is not rejection, but this acceptance, a truth for all things. Eyes that pierce a shadow dark with a clarity that only the living death can bring. Attention, vision, eyes open, breath, speak, truth, body, embody. Attention, vision, eyes open, breath, speak, truth, body, embody. Weightlessly spiraling upward ascension, eyes tightly retaining the gifts of attention, limber the soul, held in suspension, finding the novel body a brilliant invention, breathing to boundaries once locked in convention, new breath that speaks truth, automatic chromatic steps, course of correction, first shore of the movement, and then the direction, from sky to earth, from heaven that sent them. Door. Where's that? Door. Where's that transcendental framed escape, fleeting glance, liberation beam of, breath of living. Notice through a chink, tiny bud of hope peripheral. Turn the head to catch its glimpse, little bird that floats before the eyes can spot, to grasp it trapped, that gripped within the sinning fist, stopped, then gone, through reaching fingers slipped, to where? The door there. It is the thing with feathers, faintest wings in the dark that beat. Follow them then to where? That door. Out, up, in, then down, to the door down deep. Root of the mountain, foundation of all fountain, that hints at a whispered secret speech. Sacred babble spring that soothes us, can calm us, still enough to wait, long enough for guidance, unlooked for by guardian unknown. That stranger who reaches into your within to cleanse the mind and soul of sin for the first time, to once again begin. Thank you.
Brilliant. And a brilliant reading as well.
Thanks very much.
That piece was taken from Significant Nothing by Ben Quinlan, which is available to buy on Amazon now. And thank you very much, Ben, for that. And I'm going to hand over to my significant literary other now, Joanne, who's going to introduce the next poet.
Thank you, Derek. And thank you to Anna Jordan and the Waterford Arts Office for inviting us to host this event. And congratulations, Ben, on your launch of your debut collection. I'm looking forward to hearing more of your work. So the next person up tonight is Beau Williams. And hi, Beau, and welcome.
Hello.
Beau is an American poet, workshop facilitator, and spoken word artist based in Dublin. He has a master's degree in creative writing from UCC and is a former All-Ireland Poetry Slam champion. Beau has performed, competed, and taught writing workshops all across the United States and Ireland for over a decade, and he is widely published. His work can be found in his two collections, Nail Gun and a Love Letter, a collection I personally have and love, and his new collection, which is coming out next week, called Things I Blindly Took as Gospel. So welcome, Beau. And I'm going to give you the opportunity now to talk to us about your work and your practice in this second collection, how it came about, and anything you want to share with us about that.
Absolutely. Well, hi, Joanne and Derek and everybody. Thanks for having me on here. Yeah, this book has basically been, I've been working on it for God, three or 4 years now, putting it together. And I started it when I moved to Ireland, basically, which was in 2017. And there are some poems in here that I didn't finish until I actually handed it in. So it's yeah, about 3 or 4 years worth of accumulation of poetry. Yeah, all about just the struggles of moving, living far from where I grew up, on a different continent and a different culture, finding love out here, struggles with lockdown and COVID and then everything in between. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with that.
And I'm wondering, I'm thinking in your first collection, there was quite a lot of reference to America and there's a sense of place there. And do you think that Dublin has seeped more into this second collection?
I think, in the first collection was very Galway. It was when I had first visited Galway from the States. So I was, there's a strong connection about a lot of references to Portland and a lot of references to Galway. But yeah, since I've moved to Dublin, I have a couple Galway poems in here, a couple Dublin poems, and a bunch of stuff from Portland as well. So yeah.
Brilliant. Will you read something for us, please? Oh,
absolutely.
Thank you.
The poems are fairly short, so can I read 2 of them?
Yeah, go ahead.
The first one is called For Those Who Didn't Think They'd Outlive Me, or When I Die, after Ryan McClellan. I tried to write a poem about the time I found God in an apple core, but that talked in years. Not for lack of trying, I just had the phone on silent. Still do. It's always in my pocket or it's always in my hand, but she's one of those I know will always call again tomorrow. I am physically so far away from everyone who's gotten me here. I wish good things in their direction. A free drink that leads to a new friend. A good dog that greets you on the street. Your housemate does the dishes or your lover changed the sheets. You catch yourself smiling without reason. If I die in my sleep in a shoebox in Dublin, God will show up like, dude, have you been ghosting me? Then we'll laugh at the irony. She'll reach out for me because things with wings tend to forgive easily. I'll reach for my phone without thinking and my hand will go right through. It will blink in the dark the way apples through an orchard drop. Notifications from people who knew for sure I'd outlive them. I won't respond, but I'll pluck an angel feather from my back and write a poem out on my forearm on the way out. I'll revise it on the way there and read it to strangers in a dive bar or wherever it is that angels take you when they finally take you. Cool. And I know there's a lot more poets to read, so I'll just get to this next one and read a little music video for. If you want to go on my Instagram or Facebook, you can see it. It's called Gate 7. And yeah, if you like what you hear, I'm going to be launching this book virtually on Saturday, May 8th. So check it out on my Facebook, Beau Williams.
Thanks, Beau.
Yeah. It will start with two people at a gate, waiting for the plane to open its belly. They will sit with 3 seats between them, a habit like washing your hands or locking the door with your arm in your sleeve. People will begin to stroll in by ones, then threes, then hordes. Nervous bodies filling gaps. The first 2 to embrace will be a dropped vase. Folks will cringe, step back, careful not to catch porcelain shards or breathe death. Slowly, elbows will bump and strangers will say things like, "It's still all a bit crazy, isn't it?" Then a few from the back will laugh, and a toddler will cry, and a young mother will rock her because it's all she knows so far to do, and everyone will remember being all of them. The elderly will watch from the roped off corner, warding demons with their eyes from behind hospital masks. When they begin to board, people will forget that other people were poison.
Ahead of the premiere of his first full-length play. So please welcome Wayne Power. Hello, Wayne.
Hey, how are you, Derek? Good to see you.
I'm good, thank you. Before we get into Everyone's a Star for a minute, tell us briefly about this play.
But yeah, I'm delighted actually to get their first full-length one under my belt. So yeah, I actually really can't wait for it.
Brilliant. Sounds like some EastEnders vibes coming off that now, Wayne.
Lots
of secrets revealed. And
yeah, a bit of Sharon inspiration. I just actually, funny enough, I finished my second play during the week for another festival, hopefully. So yeah.
Brilliant. So you're flying it, and you're going to have your second poetry collection coming up later in the year.
Yeah, the second book is called Neon Hearts and the Angry Mob, and that should be hopefully out in December-ish, all depending on if we can actually have a proper launch this time.
So you'll hopefully have a proper launch this time, which you missed out on last time. For Everyone's a Star After Midnight. Not that it did it any harm, because you sold lots of copies and had lots of good words coming from people about the poems in it. So tell us about that. Tell us about the first collection.
It was really surreal, actually. The first collection, really, Derek, was kind of born out from the last 2 years, really. So when I started doing creative writing with Anna in Garter Lane, like I think it was January 2019. I think Joanne was in the same class actually as well. And I did my first mod works in February 2019. And yeah, it was always kind of the plan to get a poetry collection out. And I've been kind of writing furiously since doing the creative writing, and I was just like, you know what, maybe I could get a collection out. And then start last year, the mind was made up. I was like, right, I think I've enough material. I've done the open mics. I think I could have something here. So sent off the manuscript to the manuscript publisher who published the book. And yeah, it's still very, very surreal to have something out and have people like on Instagram showing you like, oh, I bought your book, and they're like, really? Yeah, it's been crazy. Yeah, but I'm enjoying it nonetheless.
Absolutely. I think it's wonderful to see anyone getting their work out there and in whatever way possible. And you self-published yours as well.
Yeah, I self-published. Well, to be honest with you, I self-published because I just thought, you know what, I admire anyone who can get published, full stop. But I just said to myself, look, I really want to publish a book. I don't care what route I have to go down. I just really want to have something out there. I suppose for myself, and also as a kind of, I suppose, like a statement of intent to say, listen, I feel I have something to contribute as a poet. And yeah, I came across the manuscript publisher, was delighted with everything they could offer, and yeah, went from there. So yeah, I've been delighted with what Oscar from the manuscript publisher has been able to do for me the past year and a half.
And that's available to buy where, Wayne?
So it's available online from the manuscriptpublisher.com. It's available from Amazon, Smashwords, locally, Book Centre. I think there's a few in Finders Keepers, a few in The Bearded Lady, and also Golden Disc, funnily enough, are stocking it. So yeah.
Brilliant. So no excuse not to get it.
Well, I hope so, Derek. And also, I just want to give a big shout out to Haley K. Stewart for doing the cover. Big thanks to
the
Haley.
Wonderful Haley. Absolutely.
I also want to thank Frank Farrelly, who's launching his book, because he's my English teacher in Mount Sion. So it's a bit weird that we're both...
this is a wonderful connection here.
I wouldn't have taken this path really without, I suppose, his guidance in Mount Sion. So yeah, big thanks to him as well.
Thank you very much, Wayne. I'm really happy to see you here. That you survived. You survived my classes. I could see Wayne's talent immediately, and not a bit surprised that he's prolific and so productive. He was always very articulate, and it's all yours, man.
Yeah, thank you very much.
That's brilliant and lovely to see. Okay, Wayne, give us something from Everyone's a Star After Midnight.
Yeah, so I'm going to do a poem called My Town. So yeah, this is my town. You could litter my town with the broken promises and pledges of the elite, the lies that could fill the street, planning applications, misinformation, yet still no transformation, for we are the neglected and the ignored. My town was thrown overboard when the doors closed on the crystal that we adored, and yet I'm bored of the promises and the lies and the closed mouths that caught no flies. My town is overlooked and undercooked. Empty buildings and false dawns from men who tell us they will give us this, that, and the other. North Keys, university status, cardiac care. But when? But where? Beggars and junkies roam the street. Preachers in our town square babble. But I think it's time to rouse the rabble. My town is my city where the art on the walls hides the gritty. My town is my city stuck on repeat. So let's rouse the rabble and pound the street. My town, my city. Blue and white flags and a charm that's familiar yet pretty. In my town, in my city, where we've heard it all before. The pledges that are now hollow folklore. My town is going to drown in broken promises and big white lies. My town is my city that silently sighs, whilst another man in the sea cries and tells us what he will deliver. Promises as deep as the Key River, when all we want is a sliver of hope and have more than we lack. To not be on our knees and be the town where everyone flees to the big smoker overseas. We are left behind, but not so blind to the sound bites and cliches, because Bush pays, and another TD will line our pockets and take another pay rise, whilst my town dies. And the situation is critical and gone beyond the political, for it's time to rouse the rabble and come in from the cold. Change the record because it's getting old. Sometimes it's the fine line between life and death. My town, my city. Rouse the rabble and hold your breath. For we are tough, beautiful, and not without pity. The blue and white. My town, my city.
Brilliant, Wayne. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That is My Town from Everyone's a Star After Midnight. And as Wayne said, you can get that from, amongst other places, Amazon online and various shops in Waterford, including the Book Centre. So thanks again, Wayne, for that. And I'm going to hand it back to Joanne now.
Thanks, Derek. Congratulations, Wayne. Fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. Inis Ryan meet quick Roisin Sheehy. Róisín is an Irish language poet, playwright and broadcaster. Her debut poetry collection, Líomóidí is Rúbarb, was recently published by Cushcame. Róisín's poetry and plays have received a number of awards from the Oireachtas na Gaeilge and from the Stuart Parker Trust. Her poetry has been published in various publications such as Poetry Ireland Review, Core, Strokestown Anthology, and broadcast on Sunday Miscellany, with Radio na Gaeltachta. Róisín lives in Tramore and is originally from West Kerry, and she is invigorated by dance. So, fáil to mór róis a Róisín. Tá mé anna hásta go bhfuil tú sáling inocht.
Cool. And it's lovely to hear y'all read your poems. Well. Gramága Joanne Shumba Lauer, Líomóidí is the Rúbarb.
That's beautiful. And I love the cover image. Róisín's go hauling her fád nach well.
Yeah, it's the poem. The cover actually was inspired by a poem in the book, which is called Labba an Lucht Shul, the Traveler's Bed. And the Traveler's Bed is made of birch and holly wood. So an illustrator actually captured birch wood in the cover here, and it's figure to hug the trees. So the book itself, Líomóidí's Rúbarb, the title Lemons, there's two poems in it called Líomóidí and Rúbarb, and basically in terms of the food, there's kind of a cleaning, especially with rhubarb. I find it kind of cleanses your system out, but it's kind of that as well for emotion and the load we carry on our hearts to kind of squeeze it out of you. So I'll start with Líomóidí, and this was actually published in the Waxed Lemon. So again, just the basis of that poem, again, it's kind of the lemons, and it's kind of just cleansing away or cleaning out what really needs to be cleaned out. Líomóidí, ó Líoméró, Fáiscin de Rá, de Bhlá, Turt de Hora, Ceol an Saudade, Rian an Bhróin, Sair ó Mochrí. So Sinead Campson a Glyph. So the next one I'll read is called Bracalay ag Loch Valle I Scaun Loin, which translates as Dawn at Ballyscannon Lake. And Ballyscannon Lake is only about 3 kilometers from Tramore. And it's a place I've been regularly going there for the past 8 years. It's just a very special spot to me, and these places kind of really inspire poetry. So this is it. Labba Sheoig uachtar na locha, Dúan Alla ag fi Líanta Macholin, ag Brachas Solis Hairev na Híthe. A bed of fog on lake surface, spiders weaving webs on my body, dawning light on last night's dreams.
The whole machine. Oh wow.
And I urge you all really to go there and walk to the lake. There's a Cuilta forest land near it, and it's a really, really special place. And the more people that go there, the better, actually, because I think we have such beautiful coastline in Waterford, we kind of forget there's another tranquil spot. Okay, I'll finish off with a poem. An ceann dearnach an seo léithe mé, Seotha ceann cuairt ó bhean den Locht Siúil. So this one is inspired by a Waterford woman and a traveller woman, Nora O'Reilly, and a great friend of mine. And I've had the privilege to get to know Nora and hear her stories as a traveller woman, and really being nomadic during her early childhood, and yet that she has that in her, that she comes out to Tramore and walks around the town, and it's something that's so in her that it gives me great courage. So it's just a woman really fighting against the odds, like society and other obstacles may come against you, but she still has that what's in her, and she can keep from day to day, she expresses that. So this poem, there's a line that comes up, Nora Hagan Nora, which basically translates to when Nora calls. And I got to know Nora because she came to my door. And it's kind of that thing the travellers did. They just call to the settled people. And yeah, she doesn't bother with the phone. all that stuff. So and on Locht Shúil, that's the Irish for travelers, which is the walking people. Nora O'Reilly. Nora hagan Nora, tugann sí léithe mianach tin céire, tinta cnáv, míle benacht. Nora hagan Nora, tugam dim a handvalka sí, is an Sean Shaw dernach as ma fóca. Nora hagan Nora, tugann sí léithe bainan an nauna, shawik, gelais vi grias ma churcan. Nora hagan Nora, bin na gordi dala I a stoppa, is good and ban a mala. Nora hagan Nora, taken gama, gur honig misha on Locht Shúil. Nora hagan Nora, te meg snav leis na kapel, I Loch Vale I scaun loin, is an awing na siúre. Nora hagan, Nora hagan, Nora hagan Nora, tegim gama, gur honig misha, o hubber on grá.
Oh,
So welcome
go
Marina Mag of everyone. Marina Mag.
Oh, Mahu Róisín. That's a
Thanks for listening to my Irish. And please don't be if you don't understand it. It's the main thing is to listen to the sounds.
Can I just say,
so this is available at on Shopalaur. Yes, Ben?
Go on. Please plug first.
I'm just saying where you can buy this is online at onshopalaur.ie and it's €7.50.
Mahu Róisín. Alaba. Cogorticus.
Míle mágad.
Co-sauce a bit. Ben, sorry.
I just wanted to say, even though like I have such a poor command of the Irish language, I could feel what you're meaning by it. The meaning really comes through. Is beautiful, really, really beautiful to listen to. So thank you very much for rekindling that love for the Irish language in me. And all it took us 10 minutes.
Fantastic. Thanks, Ben. And thank you so much, Róisín. Agus go nairi leis.
Go míle mágad, Joanne.
I just muted myself. Thank you. So I'm going to pass you over to Derek now, please. Thanks. Who is also muted.
Muted.
Every time. Thank you again, Róisín. Beautiful poems and beautiful reading there. And our next poet is Anne McDonald, who is a spoken word artist and writer. She believes in the power of poetry to connect, heal, and communicate, and writes about the world around her as it changes and how she responds to those changes. Anne's debut collection, Crow's Books, was published in March of this year. She's had poems and short stories published in print and online journals and was a prize winner in the 2020 Strokestown International Poetry Competition with her poem, Whose Coat? Welcome, Anne.
Thanks so much, Derek, and thanks so much to everyone. It's a really, really lovely event. And as Benjamin said, it's great to be here in Zoom. Where are we else but Zoom? But it's fantastic. I'm up in County Meath, so I'm not in Waterford, but thanks so much for the welcome.
Absolutely, and delighted to have you. So give us a look quickly there at your wonderful cover for Crow's Books.
This Crow's Books, and this is me on the back.
Oh, lovely.
I'm actually really thrilled because that's a painting that I did 30 years ago, showing my age now. And I always had this vision in my mind that if I ever got a poetry collection published, that I would use this painting. So I'm really pleased that I not only got to use it, but I think it came out really well.
That is brilliant. And a link back to our other poet, Wayne Power there, who had the title Everyone's a Star After Midnight for years as well, and then finally ended up using it. So that's lovely to see. Tell us briefly about the poems in your collection. Is there a theme there with the poetry?
Well, I think the biggest feedback that I've got, well, the most common feedback I've got from people is that they've said, look, I'm either roaring crying or roaring laughing at these poems. So they're absolutely, written from the heart, written about the world as I see it. Some deal with my mother's dementia, some deal with growing up and particularly around the area that I'm now back living in. And some deal with the world outside. Some, you know, deal with the process of being a woman and all the challenges that brings. And, you know, and I'm quite raw and honest in what I write. I don't mind, you know, if it's very personal, if it's my experience and I can stand over it. So I found that probably that confidence to write about personal stuff probably comes with age, if I'm really honest. But some of the poems in this book I've written 20 years ago, and I've had the idea for Crow's books, and the title actually comes from a poem that's in the book. When I was a kid, my mother used to bring us, she would say for a picnic, but then she took the baby out of the pram and filled it full of sticks in woods nearby here. And there was a rookery. And I used to say to her all the time, where are the crows going, Mum? And she said, they're going to school. And then one day I picked up a pine cone and I said, what's this? And she said, one of them feckin' Egypts dropped his book. So for years, I thought Crow's books, pine cones, were actually Crow's books, and came as a terrible surprise to me around 10 or 11, when nobody else called them Crow's books, because that's what we call them. And
that is
ironically,
fantastic.
That's literally where the title comes from. But ironically, they've turned the woods into a graveyard, and my mom is buried there. And it's actually not sad. I mean, you know, she passed away 5 years ago. But whenever we go there, we don't, it's not sad, because we still remember being there picking sticks on the picnic. And it's such a beautiful, beautiful place, because there's still a rookery, there's still woods. If you have to be buried anywhere.
That's so lovely, yeah, and such lovely memories for you attached to it. That's wonderful. And I love the notion of the crows, the pine cones being Crow's books is absolutely fantastic. Makes it even, the name is great, but it makes it even better now knowing that story behind it. So you're going to make us laugh or cry tonight with your...
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to do both, if that's okay. Hopefully I have time, so I won't waffle too much. So the first one, my mom's name was Peggy. She had a massive stroke at 62, and she had dementia then for the following 20 years. And one of the things that we struggled with as a family, as I know every family probably does, is other people's reaction to man. So she remembered one thing about a person. And in this case, this poem's about my cousin Róisín. And whenever we would say, Ma'am, Róisín is coming home from the UK, my mother would say, she had my fucking brack. And that's all she remembered about Róisín. And I remember saying to Róisín, look, you know, do you remember the night you had the brack? And Róisín didn't remember. So this is called Peggy's brack. So I'll give you this, you'll understand as I read it, okay? Do not remember the night you ate the brack. The night she came home cold and tired from work and put the kettle on. It was November and the pump had burst in the hot press, so the house was freezing. And there was very little butter left, and you put it on the last slice of brack. She ran amok, threw us all out of the house. We had to go to your house. Do you not remember? Can you not just pretend that you remember about the brack? She gets confused, I know, but to be fair to her, it really did happen. And she gets upset when she gets confused. Are you sure you don't remember? Would it matter if you played along? You'll never see her after this. She might give you a slap or a kiss, depending on how her brain is working on the day. And would it really kill you to visit for a chat about when we were all teenagers and she used to work nights and all the fights and arguments about the dishes in the sink? Just let her think that you remember. I'll be there, you needn't worry. She's not usually violent, only when she gets confused. And she is right on this score. We'll be in and out in no time. I'm sad you don't or won't remember about the brack. It's all she can remember about you.
Oh, that's so lovely.
So that's Peggy. So now for something completely different. For the ladies in the audience, and hopefully a little bit of education for the men. The title should explain it. It's called Jacks. You know the feeling when you want to go and he's enwrapped in stretching conversation, and you wait for hours for pause or punctuation, and when it comes you say politely, if somewhat sharply, look it, I have to go to the Jacks. Hoping something will hold it in to find the loo, you get there fit to burst and find a bursting red-faced cross-legged queue, and so we females exercise our amazing ability not to burst. By various positions of the legs, crossed, knotted, shifting the weight from one to the other, and your bladder feels like a freezing udder when the milking machine breaks down or there's a power cut. In a brilliant attempt at mind over matter, you join in gossip's delirious chatter of fellow sufferers, until at last the toilet's empty. Rush in, bang the door, nicks down, then you notice there's no lock. Okay, so you hold the door with one hand, stretch 3 inches longer than its normal length, and squat. Never ever sit on the bowl. Now, because your jeans were tight and your position is unnaturally elongated on account of the door, you're aimed to flex, but you can't stop. 4 pints and 2 gins, the first of which is producing enough electricity to do a 7-pound wash on a short spin. And then you begin the hapless search under the bowl and on the floor, and this is very difficult while you're squatting with one hand still holding the door, and your heart sinks when you realize there's none. Not a square, not a scrap, not even a cardboard holder, and so you nearly dislocate your shoulder with one hand still holding the door. You yank your jeans up and your knickers roll into a rope around the top of your legs like they did when you went swimming, and you don't dry yourself enough. The electric shock of a wet waistband means the shirt is so meticulously tucked in when dressing will hopefully hang outside and be long enough to prevent people guessing if you've wet yourself. Now, some of us have tried to put off performance and make a stand on this issue and march defiantly to the bar to ask for some toilet tissue. Certainly, ma'am, barman says. Will you be wanting it with ice and lemon? As he and his cronies piss themselves laughing, if you pardon the pun. And he hands you a catering bale of Andrex. So you take the rolls and cross the room, trying to look nonchalantly cool, feed it like an Egypt until you reach it, ladies' loo, complete the queue. Then it's you, and then you're in. Bang the door, nicks down, arm out, paper ready. But you can't go. Nothing. Not a drop, not a trickle, cold sweat, and then a lone, pathetic dribble after all that. This happened to me. I heard a woman next door grumble and fumble and feel on the floor. And, do you want paper? I shouted, my voice getting higher. Paper, she said. I need a fucking hairdryer. Now, I know that paper is made from trees and people are genuinely worried about the slaughter of the tropics, which has affected the ozone and messing up the weather. But if this happens to you, I would humbly suggest you use half a roll for spite and badness. Put a wad inside your pocket in case you get cut short on the way home. And you might as well lash back the pints and drown in the gin, because with the jacks in a cup, a woman can't win.
Absolutely brilliant. Us men, we have it so easy, don't we?
Yes, absolutely. You absolutely do. And I hope you know that.
This is being recorded, Derek. Now we have that.
And on that note, thank you so much, Anne, for those readings. And tell us where we can get a copy of Crow's books before we leave.
So you can get Crow's books directly on Amazon, Amazon.de, because of Brexit. It's much easier to order from Germany, or directly from myself via PayPal if you want a signed copy. So there you
Brilliant.
go.
That's great. Thanks so much, Anne. Our next poet, I'm going to introduce, and if Joanne can come back in, she'll jump in and talk. In the meantime, I'll introduce Frank Farrelly. Hello, Frank.
Hello, Derek. How are you?
Lovely to have you on here, Frank.
Lovely to be here. Thank you very much.
You're more than welcome, and a lovely little connection there with one of your ex-students.
Yes,
earlier.
Be on the same screen as him.
Absolutely. And just where is that? Is that Mount Sion?
Mount Sion, Derek. Yeah, I retired from Mount Sion about a year and a half ago.
Okay, very good. And you were teaching English there?
Yes, English and French, mainly English. Yeah.
Okay, brilliant. So, Frank, tell us about your latest collection of poetry.
Well, my latest collection, Derek, is called The Boiler Room. Here it is. The cover is by my daughter, Ali, a lovely cover. And it's published by Revival Press. It was published last October, and I had an online launch during the Writers' Weekend Festival. Emer Chasty kindly curated it, and Richard Hayes from WIT did a sort of online interview with me about the book. Which was lovely. It really worked very well. Yeah. The book has about 60 or 70 poems in it. It's my first full collection. I had a chapbook about 2 years ago called Close to Home. This particular book, it's the, I suppose it's the culmination of maybe 10 years, you know. I don't write an awful lot, but so I sort of went back over what I had written over the past few years and put this together. It's kind of organized in three parts, you know. The first part is, I call it kith and kin, which is family, people, friends. The second part is place of learning, which is basically my life as a teacher, as a student, even as an exam superintendent, you know. I have one or two poems about my experiences as an exam superintendent, for God's sake. But there's nothing actionable in it, thank God.
No names are mentioned, and no.
Oh no! It's fictionalized and safe, and not in any way derogatory. You know. It's an experience. You know, I feed off experience mostly. I like to write about people more than anything else. My third section then is I've called it In Adversity, which is basically about private conflicts, often in public places, you know, historical issues, political issues, maybe the Holocaust, problems of immigration. In other words, the problems immigrants have, you know.
Yeah.
As a teacher, I was also a homeschool liaison teacher, and I was in contact with the community quite a bit, and I came across people from diverse cultures, and I'm telling you, I got some great insights, you know, about what problems people have when they're fleeing oppression and violence and suffering. So yeah, that's the book, and I sent it away to Revival Press, and they kept it a while, and then Dominic Taylor, the editor, kindly accepted it. So I was delighted, and I'm delighted to be here. And thank you, Derek, and thank you, Joanne and Anna, and thank you to everybody who's sharing this screen. It's wonderful to be with poets who have a love of language. Yeah.
And that sounds like a fascinating cross section of poems from family to school life, and to then, as you speak of immigration or immigrants and stuff. And where first of all can the book be bought, Frank?
The book can be bought in locally here in Waterford at the book centre. There's a few in Ardkeen stores. It was open during the lockdown, so
great.
And they kindly accepted some books. Also to the Limerick Writers Centre. .com, I think, Limerick Writers Centre.
Yeah.
It's also online, and
great.
As Anne suggested, it can be bought personally as well from myself, you know, through PayPal.
Brilliant. If anyone wants the signed copy.
Yeah.
Brilliant. And what poem are you going to read for us?
Well, I wasn't sure, but I'm going to read a poem called Night Duty. It's about my mother and my father, and it's called Night Duty. My father was in the Guards. My mother died about a month ago. She died literally a month ago. So this is for her. She was a wonderful woman. She died peacefully, thank God, at the age of 95. And I remember years ago, the family home's in Cork City, and as a family, we used to take turns in staying overnight in the house just to be with her when she was on her own. Although she had a lot of home care as well all the time. And this poem is about one of those nights with my mother in Cork about 10 years ago. Night Duty. Pleased at day's end to be lying warm in bed. Night supplies to hand. Cranberry juice, tonic water. Whiskey, she swears, sends her back when bad dreams wake her up at 3. An upright page declaring, today is Thursday. Confusion often trips her up at dawn. Her radio set just right, her walker within easy reach. I say goodnight, go down to watch TV. John Lennon, in Disarming Scouse, explains to a stoned American how carry that weight doesn't mean a thing. Then she calls me. On the landing, hands against the wall, she wonders if I'm going out for a drink. Too cold, I say. I'm staying in. Where's your walker? I forgot. You forgot? Yes, I forgot. A smile that charms me like a child. The same, I'd say, that 60 years ago arrested him. The night my father stopped her, she returning from a dance with friends, he on the beat. He asked her name, advised her kindly not to cycle in the dark without a light.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you, Frank.
Thank you.
And that is taken from The Boiler Room, published by Revival Press, and as Frank said
Exactly.
there, yeah,
Exactly.
it's available online and also locally in the book
Yes.
center as well. Okay, well, thank you so much, Frank, and I believe Joanne is
back
back
here,
with us
Derek.
again.
Yes, I'm back. I'm
Thank you
back.
very
Back to
much.
Joanne.
Thank you very much. Doc.
Apologies, Frank, and my Zoom crashed. Apologies for that.
That's okay, Joanne. Thank you very much.
And my sympathies about your mother.
Thank you very much, Joanne.
This
Yes.
beautiful poem, beautiful,
Thank you very much.
lovely tribute. So we'll move on to Martine. And Martine, thank you for your patience, and apologies that you've got the final slot. So I'll just introduce Martine. Martine O Donovan hails from Clonmel in County Tipperary. She's a writer and artist. She's been writing and painting for many years. She lives by the sea in Tramore, County Waterford, with her family. And this book, her first book of poetry and short stories, is called Never Outgrow Small Borines. And she's currently working on a new collection. And I saw the cover of this, Martine. It looks absolutely beautiful. Do you have it to show to us?
I do, Joanne. And this is Never Outgrow Small Borines. And it's a photograph I took. My son is now 20, so he's about 5 in this. It's a photograph I took over in the Salines. And it always affected me, just the beauty of being unfettered, you know, when as a young child, and you don't have, I suppose, life's problems set upon your shoulders just yet. And it seems like he's running into his future just completely free. So when I was creating this, I wanted to ensure that it had my stamp on it, and that I wanted to use my own imagery as well. So that's where that idea came from. So
congratulations on your first collection. I'm delighted for you. I'm delighted. And did you include your own artwork within the book?
I have, yeah. I had put some just little pieces of artwork and some photography as well. There's just it's a tree in acrylics in Glendalough. I don't know if you can see that now, but it's just one of my favorite trees in Glendalough. And just, I suppose, to create a natural pause throughout the book, that you can stop and just look at something for a little while, you know. And
beautiful. Yeah. And are there any themes going through this collection, or what?
Themes. Well, I've touched on a lot of, I suppose, difficult subjects that we can, you know, experience in our lives, like depression and domestic violence and suicide. Some of them are, I suppose, stuff that I would have experienced within my own family as well. So there's nothing like a little bit of experiential learning for sitting down then with the pen, you know, and doing something with that. So I suppose that the background theme with this would really be that no matter how difficult life can get, I think if we have a love of nature and being out in nature, I think it can absolve anything, any of our troubles. If you just go out, like Róisín said about the forest, Ballyscannon is one of my favorite places to go and sit and just soak up sounds and smells, and then bring them back to the table with me and sit down and write, you know. So it's really just about, really, I suppose, how incredibly resilient we are, and we can forget that in the middle of difficult times. So and again, always turn to nature. And again, also, I think we will realize it as writers, but for those that don't write, the extraordinary healing power of the pen, just to sit down and write something out, even if it's whatever difficulty you have, get it on paper and burn it in the fireplace, even to do something as simple as that with it. There's great healing to be got from that, you know. So I suppose that's my theme, I suppose, really, with it, you know.
Fantastic. It's really powerful.
Our capacity to reclaim ourselves, you know.
Fantastic. Will you read us some of the work, Martine?
I will, and it's funny, there's a bit of a crow theme going on here as well now. Anne was going on about earlier on. I suppose pre-lockdown, I would have been doing a lot of yoga early in the morning down on the beach from the lookout, and we do it at 7 a.m. So you had all the rooks coming from the rookery over in Carvalley House, coming right past the window, and it's just an amazing thing to see with the sunrise, you know. So I wrote this little piece about it, and it's rooks from the lookout. Now it's quite short. Setting their elemental clocks, they drape their blue-black wings over sleepy heads. Waking eastern skies blush as the celestial army rises from its somewhere place. With halting chorus, their incandescence flits with each rising breath. Morning sun takes a slow heave upon the horizon. On and on battalions come, a never-ending procession, or so it seems. Above milky morning waves, a chordal congruence. Just as they arrive, they are gone, leaving a fleeting gift of wonder. So that's
well done. Beautiful.
Again, just the magic of nature and just looking at the words, you know.
Beautiful. And you really get the movement in there. It's fabulous. Yeah, well done.
I have another little short piece, Joanne. It's completely different. It was an experience I had a good number of years ago down in Baltimore when I found an old man collapsed on the street on the way down to the pier. So again, how things in life can just catch you by surprise. It's called His Brown Shoes. Along the Harbour Road in Baltimore, among the clanging of boats and seagulls' cries, I saw you lying there, and with a slow heave, I sat you upon the low wall. You were waiting for the bus. Your wife was unwell. You had to get home. Again you fell, harder this time. Your net bag carrying your milk and bread created a glassy stream towards the pier. You spoke through bloodied teeth, gripping my hand. She will be waiting. I placed my coat beneath your head. Help is on the way, I said. It was then I saw your brown shoes. The same brown shoes sat beneath my father's hospital bed. I used to look at them next to the urine bag and wonder, would you put your feet into them again? They were bundled into a blue sack the day you died and returned to our mother. The moment wrapped me in hollow regret.
Oh, beautiful, Martine. Beautiful.
Again, it's just life's little moments, the way they can catch you unaware, you know. So,
and the image of the shoes is really strong as well. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Where can people buy your book if they're looking for it? Where is it available?
Now, it's available. I went live, we'll say, on Amazon and Kindle and the Book Depository in January. So that was my sort of non-launch. And then in Tramore, it's in the Coast Guard Station and the Bee Bistro when they reopen. And Molly's down and the cafe on the beachfront. Molly has taken a bunch of my books as well, so she's going to start selling them. So, and there I have them as well myself. So
fantastic. I'm looking forward to reading them.
Oh,
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you, Martine.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And thank you to everybody who attended the event and took part. I understand that we're all at different stages, that some people here are launched, some people are launching. Ben, congratulations. And some people will be launched soon, like Beau. But the whole theme of this, tonight was the, recent book launches, and maybe the last launches of lockdown. I think Anna has the title of it. So it was really nice to join together to be at a time when people have new books, fresh work out, and are introducing this new work to the poetry scene. So it's very special to be around such fabulous creative people and to hear some of your new work. So congratulations. It's no mean feat getting a book out. So congratulations from myself at the West End, and I'm sure from Derek as well. Derek, do you have any parting words yourself?
Yeah, just thanks again to everyone. It's wonderful, as you said, to see everyone putting books out there, whether they're published by presses or published by self-published. I think just a note for anyone that has books on Amazon. I know it's been difficult for my own books, and I've heard from other friends of mine who are self-published. It's difficult for people to order from Amazon.co.uk. So if you're trying to get any of the lads' books and you can't get them in paperback from Amazon in England, you can order from Amazon.de and you'll get them from there. I think the delivery price is much the same. So yeah, and also, of course, the book centre in Waterford. I think nearly everyone's books are available there and online. So support your local bookstore as well and see can you get them from there. And yeah, I think it's wonderful to see, as myself and Joanne have seen with the first issue and now with the second issue of the Wax Lemon, the amount of talent in Waterford and beyond is just breathtaking. And I think we've just seen a wonderful sample of it tonight. So thanks to everyone. Congratulations on your launches. And I leave the last word to you, Joanne.
Just say thank you to everybody who participated tonight. We're very grateful.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you, Joanne. Thank you, Derek.
Thanks so much.
Good night. Thank you.